Hi guys, what I'm going to try and do for you, I've got a match tomorrow, so I'm just prepping up my bait and everything at the moment, is I'm going to give you a quick run through of the Mac meat cutter. Now, got a tin of cheapest chips, take the key off it there, cheapest chips, pork luncheon meat that I've got from B&M, £1, I don't know, 20 odd it was for a tin. I've got 2 tins, I've done 1 tin, I've got it ready for what I want to do to it next. This is the next one. And what we've got in your Mac meat cutter is, you've got your plunger, you've got your meat cutter, right? In it you've got 2 sets of blades. You've got a straight blade, which I put at the top after being shown that by someone, and on the bottom I've got the square, which is your cubes. Now this is 8mm, this is set 4. What you want to do when you put these in, you want to make sure these are in tight and as far as they can go, otherwise you get meat scooming out the sides, and it sits in there because the plunger is designed to go straight through into all the holes that are left on the blades, so it pushes the meat all the way through into the next chamber. So make sure they're always in good and tight. If they're not in fully, you'll know they're not, because if you've got them just left out a bit like that, it won't plunge it through properly, so you've got to click it right in, make sure they push right in tight. First time I tried this, well, a couple of weeks back let's say, it was a mess. I ended up with bits of meat everywhere, it looked terrible. I thought, this thing is terrible, it's crap. And then I realised what I was doing wrong. So it's not the product, it was me. Big container, get one of them because you'll need that, and have a kettle, which you can't see just off camera here, full of water, because once you've cubed it, you're going to score it. And the reason I do that is I put boiling water on it, give it a mix around, get all the oils and fats into the water, out of the meat if you will. And what it does is when you're using it in your margin and things like that, it helps it sink that little bit quicker and sit on the bottom a little bit better. If you don't take the oils and fats off, it's a bit floaty. So when the margin, carp and F1s, whatever it is you're fishing for, come in and the fins are moving, it'll just puff and float all around the place and you'll end up with a mess, rather than a nice tight area to fish in where you're putting your bait in. Sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. So anyway, let's get this going. Tin of meat. Let's do the awkward bit first, put the key on, get it open. I can't speed this up because I've not got that kind of software on this phone, so you're going to have to persevere with me. Oh, I'm making an absolute pig's ear of the key bit. Yep. So, here we go, this is where I'll bugger it up. There we go. Get your meat out. Careful when you say that. Straight in the top. Right, so into the top of there. Get your plunger. And you're going to plunge it, you might see it come through all the way to the bottom. This is through the straight blades, remember. So you're going to push it down like that, all the way, so it goes into the bottom. Like I say, if you haven't got this lined up properly with them push right in, that meat will sit halfway, it'll sit here hanging, because it won't have been pushed all the way through. So when you've done that, take your plunger out, take your cover off the back end, right? You're going to turn it over to the side, like that, right? Doesn't matter which way. You've got a receptacle piece here, like a collar to go on it, just to stop it from all leaking. Dog's whining, you're getting meat anyway, you, stop whinging. You're going to put it on the bottom if you can, like that. So put this over the tray, like that. Get your plunger again, and you're going to, same again, all the way through, until you hear it thud, and that means it's gone all the way through. You've got this as far down as it'll go. Give it a tap, make sure it's all in there, lift it out, and if you look in there, you can see there's very little meat left. There's nothing stuck on the blades, nothing coming out the sides. Take your plunger back out, make sure you give everything a wash afterwards. Take it all apart. Now it looks like they're all in stringy bits, but they're not. They are in lovely, once you give it a mix around, little 8mm cubes, like that. Look at that, perfect. Now you can see how oily that is. Look at my fingers with all the grease and oil on. So straight under Move that out of the way a minute. Straight under the kettle. Move the kettle out a minute just so you can see. And this is one of those quick boil kettle things, so I apologise for the noise you're about to hear when this thing gets going, but it takes about 60 seconds and it'll have boiling water going on top of all this meat. Hey, look at that, man. Perfectly uniformed meat. Just what you want. This will also firm it up. It'll make it, you know, a firmer bait on the hook, so this will break apart a little bit easier when you've got it on the hook or a spear or anything like that, or a little spigot. Whereas when you boil it and that, it turns it a little bit more rubbery, just a little bit. There we go, it's about to pour. But you'll see the milky sort of colour you get. Get myself a little spoon, a tray. I'm just going to give this a stir around. I'm not going to use my fingers, of course it'd burn. I just give it a stir around. Now I might have to do this 2 or 3 times. I'm only going to do it the once for yourselves. But I might do this 2 or 3 times till it's almost clear when I've boiled the water on top of it, to really get that fat off it. And I don't know if you're aware of this, one of the anglers on YouTube actually showed you the difference between when you boil the water onto your meat and when you don't, and how it sinks, how it reacts underwater. And I tell you what, it's such a difference. But you can see that there. Look how milky that water is. You know, so I'm just going to get this, that'll do it. I'm just going to pour it off without losing half my meat down the sink if I can. There we go. And that's the first time round. So I'm going to do this another 2 or 3 times and I'll show you the result when it's finished. I mean, it still looks the same, but you'll see a difference in the water when I've done it. So I'll come back to you in a moment. Right, back. Quick short slip. 4 times I've done this. There's still a little bit of oil on it, but as you can see in the water there, it's a lot clearer than it was. It's not as milky, not as oily. Just going to pick it up, see, can you see? It's almost clear. Like that. And you can see that that meat is all pretty much sitting below the surface of the water as well. It's not actually floating. And if you look there, nice, pretty much uniformed cubes of meat. Absolutely perfect. Nice and rubbery as well. They will stay on that band. You can see how firm they are when I squash them. They're not losing shape or anything, and that is perfect. So I'm going to let this cool for a minute, give it a douse of cold water, probably give some to the dog, and then stick it in the fridge and wait for tomorrow. Job done. So there you go. Quick use of the mat meat cutter and what you do to prep it for fishing it down your margins and not having it waft about everywhere making a mess of your swim. So give me a towel. So there you go. How to prep your meat, careful, and how to have it set for your next match. Cheers guys, see you on the bank.